morning, everyone. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning again on this beautiful fall day. It doesn't feel like fall much here in Tennessee, but I hear we're having a cold front later this week. So I think we're going to get a shot of cold air. But anyway, this is your first time joining us on Title Talk Live. I want to welcome you here. I'm LaGraize. I'm the host of Title Talk Live, and also the manager here as well. So just a reminder, Title Talk Live is a weekly show that we do Thursdays at 10 a.m. And it's really everything title, from sales, leadership, self-growth, underwriting, claims, on and on. So everything title. Only time we don't do it is the last week of the month, and I know everybody in the title land can understand why. Well, as a reminder, please be engaging, interactive. If you're here, please let me know that you're here by saying hello, you're awesome. Lee, something's wrong with your hair. I actually did get that from one of our agents a few weeks ago. But again, it's very interactive. It's meant to be engaging. So, why don't we get started? I'm going to speak. I'm going to be my own guest. If you don't know me very well, for years, I've read books on leadership, on management, on sales, and that's just really my thing. It's really my niche. So this morning, I'm going to speak on, are you stuck in a rut? Then cross over your cattle guard. Okay, so this is going to be more about growth, right? And I know we all need it in the title world. Doesn't matter what role that you have in the title world, but at times there are times that we do get stuck in a rut, right? And we're also always trying ways to get stretched. So there again, I'm going to speak on, are you just stuck in a rut? Then cross over your cattle guard. Can anyone tell me if you know what a cattle guard is? Anyone? Unless you were raised in the deep south or maybe in a ranch, you may not know what a cattle guard is. A cattle guard are metal grates that sort of act as a gate. Farmers, if you're in a ranch, you use that to try to keep cattle confined, safe, so they don't cross into the road. It's metal grates. If the animal goes over it, if the cow goes over it, then he can hurt his leg. Have you ever heard of a virtual cattle guard? Anyone heard of that? Well, if you Google it, you'd actually find that it's a cattle guard, except instead of having the metal grates that go across, it's basically just painted lines. It's white lines, and in between the white lines are basically black. So it gives impression or a perception that it's a cattle guard and that it's real, and it works well. And as I wrote a couple of years ago, I came across this, and I was thinking, don't we all have our own cattle guards, right? Our own fears, our insecurities that sometimes may keep us safe, but sometimes it may keep us from living our fullest potential in life. And as I thought about mine, I was like, okay, I have a few. I know that shocks everyone. But I do have one that I want to share. So I'm getting ready to be very vulnerable here on Facebook, okay? I first remember back that I had a speech impediment when I was 6 years old. And it was like a stutter. And there were times to where it was hard to get out words. And I think I was most aware of it, obviously, when I entered high school, which is when you feel like the spotlight is on you anyway, right? I can remember the first time that I really tried to avoid getting up and having to speak was I was in class, and we had to say the preamble the next day in front of class. And I can recall the thoughts that I had in my head, like, oh gosh, I'm going to die, right? There's no way that I can stand up in front of the class because I'm going to be found out. It's going to be embarrassing. So I was just thinking of ways to get out of it. So after class, I went up to, to my teacher after class, and I asked her, I said, hey, listen, I'm not feeling well. I don't think I'll be in class that next day. Is there any way that I can say the preamble now, in front of you? And I think that she knew because she gave me grace and she allowed me to say it then. But that was when I was real aware of it, or the most aware of it. And a few years went by, and I was thinking, what I want to do with my life. And my thinking was, well, I want to be behind the scenes, right? I want to do whatever job I have in life. I just need to make sure that I do not have to public speak, okay? Fast forward 3 or 4 more years, and I was in college, and I went through a brief spiritual journey, which I won't get into here. But when I went through this time, I started getting back into church. And I'm sure that some friends at church that, noticed me and said, what is this guy doing in church, right? So I had a few of them that says, hey, Lee, we'd really like to hear your story. And so they asked me to speak in front of a class. And I can recall my first thoughts when I was asked was, oh, there's no way that I'm going to be doing this. And I was thinking no, but I heard my mouth say yes. And I couldn't believe what I was saying. So as you can imagine, the day before, I was going through all these thoughts about how embarrassing it's going to be. And I need to try to get out of it. These same thoughts, right? And so I did it anyway. I had the courage. I don't know where that courage came from, but I had the courage. I remember getting up in front of the class. There was about 40 in class, and I could just remember thinking, this is going to be a disaster, right? So I got up there, the words started to come out, and I was shocked. And the shocking part of it was, wow, I feel actually invigorated. I feel alive. It was very fluent. And, like I said, I just felt very alive. Hey, Beth, good morning. I see that Beth Turner just joined in. But I felt very alive. And I actually had a few of my friends after class that came up and said, Lee, that really inspired me. And in my mind, I was thinking, who, me? Inspired? Really? And I just thought they were being nice at the time. That day, I actually made a commitment. It took a few weeks of reflection, but that I would never say no because of fear again, if I felt called to do it. So a few years after that, I got a job of where I'm at now, and I became a rep. And as you know, as a sales rep, you have to speak quite a bit, right? So I started speaking one-on-one in small groups with 2 or 3, and I became a manager a little bit after that, and I actually started volunteering. I actually started to initiating having to public speak, and I still do. So that small group became 40, 50 people, and now, after hundreds of times in doing it, at times I speak in front of hundreds. And it's something that I actually have become to really enjoy, right? Now, if you were to ask me 25 years ago if this would be something I'd be doing in life, I would say absolutely not. And it was because of my fear, right? So why am I saying all this? Well, I'm saying all this because of this. If I would have said no to my fear, no to having to public speak 25 years ago, getting up in front of that class the first time, then I would have missed a whole lot in life. I would have missed my calling in life. And what I thought was my greatest weakness in life has actually, in some ways, become my greatest strength. So I just want to encourage you, if you're dealing with fear, which we all deal with, and if there's something that you're thinking, I want to do this, it's a desire that I have, but I'm scared, what are people going to think? Am I going to be embarrassed? I just want to give you a few things as far as how to get started. Number one is, are you stuck in a rut, right? Now, I think we've all been stuck in a rut. How do you know you're stuck in a rut? Well, it means that you're bored. It means that you feel like you're just going through the motions every day, right? You don't feel alive in life. And so if you're that way, I just want to encourage you, you don't have to live life that way. So I guess the first step is to be self-aware. Number 2 is, after you're aware, take a little time to think about what your strengths are and what you desire in life, and try to match those. Try to match your strengths and your desires. Number 3 is, really it took me to having to shift the way that just my thoughts about it. All right, instead of being stuck and thinking I'm afraid, so I'm not going to do this. It really came more to, I'm not going to allow fear to dictate my life or my actions in life. Right? I want to overcome this. And look, at the end of the day, guys, this is deep here. All right. I found out that, that most people don't care how polished that you are. It has everything to do with how authentic that you are, how real that you are. And that's really where the power is. And last, you have to go for it. Okay, you have to do it. There's going to be times in life to where you have a desire, to where you have a calling, but you also have a lot of fear. And I really encourage you to just do it at times. You just have the courage to do it, and then do it again, and then do it again. And it becomes easier. So with that, I hope that my story inspires you. I know that my life, I've certainly had a lot of motivation and encouragement from friends over the years. So with that, I encourage you to cross that cattle guard. So real quick, I'm going to have a quick drawing. My assistant did a few drawings, and let's see. Those of you that joined us and said hello. Beth Turner. Beth Turner, are you still on? Beth Turner from Lakeside won a $25 gift card to Starbucks. So sincerely, am grateful for everybody that joined us. So with that, I just want to thank everyone. We will have Title Talk Live next Thursday at 10 a.m. Have a great day. Bye-bye.